Welcome in, everybody. The first episode of the Fourth Down Football Show. I am Matt. That is my friend Kyle right here. We're going to be covering a little bit of football today. A little college football, little NFL football. Kyle, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited. Ready to go.
Yes, sir. We're bringing that energy for you guys. Just a little rundown of how this show is going to go. This is not going to be your normal episode, so to say. Typically, I think we're going to start off with me doing a little bit by myself. Then we're going to bring on Mello or Kyle, whoever. We're going to do college with Mello. We're going to do NFL with Kyle. That's just what they feel most comfortable with. So we don't want to be BSing you the whole time and acting like we know what we don't know about. So on the docket today, we're going to start with some college because college football is here. We just had week 0. Now, the name week 0, I never really understood that. Just started at week 1. It doesn't matter if everybody's playing or not. Never really got that, but I'm happy that is back. I was pumped to watch Notre Dame beat the crap out of Navy in Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, Kyle is a Notre Dame fan, so that was great for him to see. Kyle is a Giants fan as well for the NFL. My fandom's right here. I'm repping Penn State, not Utah. Jeez, Penn State, and then I'm an Eagles guy as well. Go Birds! So just figured I'd get that out there. But anyway, it's great that college football is back. So we're going to be talking a little bit of the two powerhouses, the only real games that mattered from last Saturday's action, and they weren't really great games, so to say. So it was a little bit of a tough situation there. But Notre Dame put a beat down on Navy, like I said. And then USC with a dominant win over San Jose State as well. Then we're going to flip over to the NFL side. Josh Jacobs signed a deal just over the weekend. So that's pretty big for the Raiders, big for Josh Jacobs. Not really a win for the running backs, I would say, but I don't know what to expect from that market going forward. Trey Lance got dealt to the Dallas Cowboys, our in-division rivals there. So maybe we'll get a taste of him later on. Hopefully not. I don't wish injuries on anybody, not even Dak Prescott. Chris Jones is still holding out for the Chiefs, which is not great for them. Jonathan Taylor, couple trade destinations for him, fits that we think would be best. And yeah, if there's anything else that comes up along the way, we'll dive into it. But let's start right off the top. Kyle, I'm sure did you watch all the Notre Dame game? I know it's a lot of time to spend to be watching your team smack somebody in the mouth like that, but
Yeah, no, I was definitely tuning in. I'm not going to sit here and say I watched the entire thing, but I did watch most of it. I was very excited. I was so happy to see that Navy and gold back on the field. It was a very cool experience to see them back on there, and there was a lot of question marks surrounding Notre Dame this season. And I mean, I'm not gonna jump the gun here because the schedule does look a little bit easy, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
That's fair. You mentioned questions going into the season. It starts from the top down. Marcus Freeman, there are some questions about him as the head coach. He took over after Brian Kelly dipped to go to LSU. And after the slow start last year, there were some questions around him. Is he the right guy for the job? Can he really lead this program? Because coaching is a whole different world from college to the NFL. And just to go to our home sport, so to say, manager and head coach is a way different job. Head coach is way more involved than manager in baseball. So he's involved in everything. Recruiting in college football is obviously huge. And then when you get into the transfer portal, and then when you get to, is he calling plays? Do you know? Is he calling the plays on offense?
I believe he is. I
Okay.
believe so.
Yeah. So then it's a lot more involved than being a manager in baseball. It's pretty easy job, and it's in the name, manager, right there. But there's questions surrounding him. And then also at quarterback, I mean, I wouldn't say there was questions surrounding him coming into the season because we knew he was pretty elite, being one of the best quarterbacks the ACC had seen in a long time in his history, really. And Sam Hartman entered the transfer portal, came over to Notre Dame. Really, it's going to be one of the more elite QBs that Notre Dame has had for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, our last quarterback was Ian Book, who was just released by your Eagles there. But yeah, no, I mean, he has been, and this is one of the things that I was most excited about. You know, I mean, going into this game, I wanted to see how Hartman would, fit in with this offense and Marcus Freeman's play style. And I mean, like I said, I don't want to sit here and hype Notre Dame so much, but I mean, looking at their schedule, but you know, when it comes down to it, I mean, he performed, and that's something Notre Dame fans had not seen for a little while. So I was pumped, and of course, I'm going to sit here and say, he's going to save this program, and it's going to look great.
Yeah.
But yet again, it all goes back to everything involved. I mean, first impressions, I absolutely love him fitting in with this offense, but we'll see. It's only week 0 going in the next week. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited though. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And we always make fun of these cupcake games, so to say, when your team is smoking Navy in this case, whether it's Citadel or Middle Tennessee State or, Youngstown State that Ohio State gets to play every year, all those cupcake games. But when your team does what it's supposed to, that's what they're supposed to do. Okay. I mean, they're supposed to win 42-3. So we can't be making fun of them. We should be, well, you should be glad that they did what they're supposed to do. And we can't be mocking them for that. Now, I mean, schedules in college football is a whole nother discussion for a whole nother episode. But they did what they were supposed to. And sure, we're not going to really get a real test until they face Ohio State in September, just about a month from now. So we're not going to know what to expect till we see a real defense really for Sam Hartman to go up against, but he looked great. And pretty much that's the biggest takeaway from Notre Dame versus Navy is that Sam Hartman looked great. And one, he's going to be able to lead Notre Dame to maybe a playoff contention this year, college football playoff contention this year. But at the very least, he's going to be a top quarterback for the draft coming up this year. You got to think any other takeaways from that game or not really?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I mean, I liked what I saw. My biggest thing that I was looking for was how Hartman was going to fit in with this offense. I mean, I got my answer, at least for right now, I do. So that's all I got to say. Just keep going, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. The other main game, and I wish we had Mello on here to talk about it. He wasn't able to make it. He's a USC fan. So USC had a very commanding victory over unranked San Jose State, 56-28. Not quite a 42-3 beatdown, but still pretty good. Caleb Williams, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and Heisman favorite for this season, had an incredible play. I don't know if you saw that highlight or not, where he was just about sacked, like sort of spun out and then just launched a deep ball and for a touchdown. That was a crazy play.
Yeah, no, I saw it. It was very, very impressive. Definitely worth that highlight reel that it had gotten.
Yeah. Now everybody knows this, okay? The main question about USC going into the season was not if Caleb Williams could lead this USC offense to be elite under Lincoln Riley again. It was whether this defense could actually stop anybody at all. And in their first test, not a great start. I mean, granted, you didn't lose, obviously. By no means, you didn't lose. But that's more on the offense. The offense carried you. Your defense did not really do its job. You gave up 28 points.
Especially against an unranked team like that. I mean, that's going to be the biggest question mark for USC this season.
Exactly. And I'm picturing one play in specific. There's 2 wide receivers out, and they had the corner on the one playing man, and then they had the safety out back. And the corner stuck with the inside guy, And so the safety should have picked up the guy on the outside, and he did not. He leaned inside, shadowed inside, a wide receiver wide open for a touchdown there. So I was like, oh, don't love the looks of that. Um, Once again, whole nother discussion here, but not able to watch the game because it was on the Pac-12 network. Your number 6 ranked USC hidden away on the Pac-12 network, and we all wonder, or all those Pac-12 people wonder why their conference is ceasing to exist after this year. There's your answer right there. You're hiding your best games out there on the Pac-12 network. But anyway, it's going to be a question going forward for sure is what can USC's defense look like? And they'll have a real test coming up soon. Not really soon. The next time they play a ranked opponent is Notre Dame, October 14th. You're Fighting Irish. So, I mean, you'd have to like the prospects of that from the offensive side, right?
Oh yeah. I'm expecting a big game out of Hartman. I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah. Obviously, storied rivalry there between USC and Notre Dame, but it could have playoff implications for both teams as well. With,
Mhm.
I mean, Ohio State could ruin that for Notre Dame before they get there because at this point, it's tough to be even a one-loss team making it into the playoff. Occasionally, an SEC team can get that, and maybe a Big Ten team, but for Notre Dame especially, you gotta almost be undefeated to make it into the playoff. In this 4-team playoff bracket that we got. Still, I'm
Exactly.
looking forward to that 12, but
Yeah.
it makes it tough, and
That's
you
what
gotta
haunts
go.
me as a Notre Dame fan every year.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
tough,
And
man.
Penn State fan. I mean, yeah, I don't want to go on a tangent. I'm sorry. But I have my own Ohio State horror stories and Big Ten champions and not making it into the college football playoff. Um, but I could rant about that some other time when there's not actual football to talk about. So I think we covered everything pretty well from college football side. There is a great slate of games coming up for week one. Quite a few. Well, not quite a few. There's one really good ranked game, and it's Florida State versus LSU, and that's on a Sunday too, which is kind of nice. I kind of like that. It's not all the good games on Saturday. Um, my Penn State Nittany Lions taking on West Virginia should be a good game as well. Hopefully not. Hopefully we blow them out. But either way, there's quite a few good games. North Carolina versus South Carolina. Like I said, lots of good games coming up this weekend, and looking forward to it a lot. But we'll flip over to the NFL side now. You were in a sticky situation with your running back not that long ago. I would love to hear your perspective real quick. Um, Dealing with all that Saquon Barkley nonsense, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, so there's no questioning the talent coming out of Saquon Barkley. I mean, you know him very well from his college
Oh
days.
yeah.
Barkley has been the mainstay on this Giants offense for quite some time. Um, the Giants have not been good, in recent years, and it's finally turning the curve. I will say I'm excited for this season. But Barkley has been the guy that no matter who's under center, no matter who's on this offense, that's who you build around, right? He's the game changer. He's our best player. But on the other hand, you don't pay running backs this type of money, especially guys like Saquon Barkley, who have not had a good track record with injuries. So, going into it, I understood and I prepared myself for Barkley to be off the Giants this year. I really did. And I
That's tough.
expected that. It sucks, but that's just the way it is. I can't change it. Nobody can change it. So Barkley needs to go out there, have a career year if he wants any kind of money like he's expecting. I'm not saying it should be like that. I'm not saying it's fair, but that's just the way it is, and that's business. I'm shocked that Joe Shane was able to figure something out here to get him back on this Giants team. So I'm happy how it ended. I'm not looking forward to the offseason, going through this again, but we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they just franchise tag him again and then go through the same ordeal. You never know.
Yeah.
So that was my kind of idea with it.
Yeah. And we're talking about this because, as I mentioned in the rundown, Josh Jacobs has just signed a new deal with the Raiders, and it's 1 year worth up to 12 million. And really the ironic part I thought about the Saquon deal and this Josh Jacobs one, they're just about the same amount of money, and
Hmm.
it's not a long-term contract as the franchise tag. But there's just this stench to running backs around the franchise tag that nobody wants to be put under the franchise tag. And I think Saquon's was like almost exactly the same amount. Like it was within $1 million, I believe, of the franchise tag. And I say that lightly. I get it. And I'm not a millionaire, so that much money would be huge to me, obviously. Um, and it still matters to them. But it's just like you make this big old stink about it. You hold out and just to sign a deal very similar, and you get no more long term security than the franchise tag would have given you. I don't exactly understand it, but whatever. Good for the Raiders. I'm not going to say there's not going to be a lot to love there this season. I just don't expect a lot of wins from the Raiders this year. You got two explosive pieces on offense there with Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. Your quarterback situation isn't the greatest, so I mean, maybe you're going to stick with running the ball and get the most out of this 12 million, up to 12 million for Josh Jacobs this season, and then throw him out and get the next Alabama running back to come out of their machine right there. Because that's just sort of how it feels is teams chew up, get the most flavor out of their running backs, and then spit them out. And my Eagles just did that with my guy from Penn State, with Miles Sanders. We got the best out of him for as long as we could. And then when he said, hey, let's stick around a little bit longer for a little bit more, the Eagles said, nope, we're going to spit you out and we're going to get a new piece of gum. And that's exactly what they did with trading for the DeAndre Swift from the Lions. They got Kenneth Gainwell. And I mean, we can just transfer right into this. We're going to talk about Jonathan Taylor. I mentioned him later, but we'll talk about it right now. That's called an audible right there. Haha, football jokes. Anyway, Jonathan Taylor holding out from Colts camp and seemingly is not going to give in. And it's way beyond repair, the relationship at this point. And not all of that's on Jonathan Taylor, I would say. Part of that is on owner Jim Irsay with some of the comments he made, which he is a funny owner. And I look forward to the couple of times when Pat McAfee has Jim Irsay on his show because it's usually pretty good comedy for me. But he's one of those owners that actually gets involved with the football side of it. You and I don't really have that issue. We like to mock Cowboys fans for Jerry Jones always being their GM and making sometimes bonehead decisions down there. But anyway, Jonathan Taylor, we put a post out earlier today about who he could be the most valuable pickup for, with the Dolphins already making a offer getting turned down by the Colts. Colts reportedly want a first round pick for the running back. Well, when your owner just came out and said we don't value the running back position, I'm not sure why teams would at any point want to give up a first round pick for him. Don't get me wrong, he's an elite running back, or at least he was 2 years ago. He had that injury last year, but Eagles, Bears, Ravens, Dolphins mentioned as possibilities. Do you have a favorite landing spot? And I don't know if bias is going to get in your way here, but throwing bias aside, if it does.
Yeah, so where I want him to go and where I'd love him to see is in Buffalo. Buffalo
Yeah.
has been needing that running back for years, it seems. Ever since Josh Allen has broke out of his shell and became one of the top quarterbacks in the league, they've been missing that running back. I mean, getting a guy like Jonathan Taylor in there, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous at that point. Out of the teams you mentioned, though, I'd like to see him go to Miami. Miami's already gotten an explosive offense. Seeing them take that leap, going to get Taylor, and then making them, I don't know, does that make them favorites in the AFC East?
Definitely
I don't
could.
know. But a move like that can show that they mean business, and I can only imagine the highlight reels that will be coming out of that offense. I'd love
Yeah.
to see it. I really would. So for me, my personal favorite is Buffalo, but logically, I'm saying Miami.
Yeah, Miami's already been in hot pursuit, like I mentioned, trying to trade for him already. And really, what's been missing from that Miami offense has been a running game. They
Yeah,
have not had a franchise running back for quite a while now, and it's sort of just a revolving door. These guys they're playing the running back game. They're getting a new stick of gum every year, every 2 years. Um, so yeah, that fit makes sense. I like it. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Trust me, I'd like him with the Eagles. Now, I don't like if we'd have to pay him because chances are he's gonna want a payday if you're gonna trade for him.
yeah.
So I don't necessarily want to do that, and I trust our GM Howie Roseman to make the right decision there. A team that I sort of sneaky like him on is the Bears. I like him matching up with Justin Fields, taking a little bit of the pressure off of Justin Fields to allowing him to hand the ball off sometimes to a really good running back so that you're not either passing or running every single down. Obviously, passing and running every single down, Matt. Wow. A real smart saying right there.
I
Obviously, NFL
I
offenses are doing that.
I
So,
knew exactly what you meant though. I did.
so Justin Fields isn't passing or running the ball himself every single down.
There you go.
Um, they need themselves an elite running back, I would say, and I think Jonathan Taylor could be the guy to be. He is that bell cow running back, that guy that you can hand the ball off to, however many times a game, and he's not going to be getting beat up. He's not a small guy who's more of a use him out of the backfield in the pass game. You know, not that he's not elite in the pass game because he definitely is. He's a good receiver too. So I think the Bears would be a good fit. Ravens, I would like that pairing him up with Lamar as well as OBJ, but I believe they got J.K. Dobbins over there still, so
Mhm.
I don't think they'd be overly interested in a running back at this point. Um, but you never know. I guess Ravens have shown they want to go out there and supply Lamar with tools on offense because he said he's not really interested. That was one of the deal breakers for him signing that big long term deal was he needed offensive weapons. Um, we'll stick around in the AFC. One of the Chiefs' best players is holding out, and this is kind of like the second year in a row we've seen frustration from one of the Chiefs' star players. Now, last year, seemingly it didn't matter. Tyreek Hill out the door, and the Chiefs right back to the Super Bowl again. So they already got that. They're like, man, we don't need you. Go ahead, leave. But now Chris Jones on the defensive side, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. I believe he had 15 and a half sacks last year. So that's really good coming from from the nose tackle spot there. A lot of these guys with the high sack numbers are coming from the outside now. And he's just a menace right there in the middle of the line. I don't know how else to put it, but he's currently holding out. He's in the last year of his deal. He wants a new deal. He's looking probably around 3 to 4 years, and he's supposedly looking for around 30 million a year, which is a lot for a defensive tackle. Um, what do you? I know you're not a Chiefs fan or anything, but what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm is it crazy for me to say I'm with the Chiefs on this? I mean, 30 million a year, like that's absolutely ridiculous in today's market when it comes to the NFL. Um, but at the same time, I mean, if he's out of there, they're gonna miss him. This isn't just, a revolving door that they can just grab somebody else out of the draft. You're not going to replicate what he's doing on the field.
No,
You're going to have to. I mean, that's what they say. I mean, the players who are performing and making you a reason why you're one of the most successful franchises in the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years. I mean, you got to pay them. That's what it comes down to. So I understand where both sides are coming from, but I think that price tag is going to have to come down just a little bit. And honestly, who's going to pay that? I'd love to know. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know if he's doing this just because, hometown, He's been with them for how long? But I don't know. That's tough. That's a very tough situation because I understand both sides.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. Like you got an elite player, but they're asking for the next step up of money. And
Yeah.
that's around like Aaron Donald territory there, money wise. And Aaron Donald is debatably the best defensive tackle in the history of the NFL. Now, Chris Jones is great, and he's probably on a Hall of Fame track, to be honest, but
Yeah.
he's not quite Aaron Donald level. And I know there's just this is how the NFL goes. Somebody in your position group gets paid. You have to, everybody demands to get more than that. It's how it works at quarterback, especially
Huh.
Daniel Jones. You saw it with Daniel Jones. I
Yeah.
saw it with Jalen Hurts. But
Yeah.
then we'll see in a couple years, looking back, it's going to be like, man, Jalen Hurts contract's not that bad, as long as he's good. That Daniel
Yeah.
Jones contract, that's another story. It might still be bad, but
Hey, you never know. Calm down there.
well, we see it with Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I think we can both agree on that at least.
That we can agree on.
That sure, the quarterback is gonna demand more money than the guy who got paid before him, but man, is it tough to be the owner and cave and the GM and be like, well, we don't think you're more valuable or better than the guy who got paid before you. So why would we pay you that much?
Yep.
And I understand quarterback's an elite position, and I understand as well. You understand you got an elite defensive tackle. There's not a lot of elite defensive tackles in the league. And Chris Jones is, I would say, definitely the number 2 to Aaron Donald right now. So the Chiefs are in a tough spot here, but I agree. You can't be, I don't know if you can shell out this much money for him.
I
It's
agree.
tough. You got a
I
lot of
mean,
guys you're paying there.
I'm not saying that Dexter Lawrence is on that level with Aaron Donald and Chris Jones, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's a pushover. I mean,
No.
he's an elite defensive tackle, and we signed him for 90 million over 4 years. That's the kind of deal I'm looking for. That's
Yeah.
what I like.
Yeah.
And I mean, if Dexy took that kind of money, I mean, Chris Jones could easily be like, "Yo, Lawrence just got paid over in New York this much, and I'm how much better than him." So, I mean, something's got to give here. So I do understand that as well. I mean, you got to go with the market. I mean, we see it in baseball all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna happen. So it's tough, man.
Yeah. It's such a balance between paying elite talent and like being able to replace it because yes, they're so great. They're elite. Tyreek Hill, elite. All pro wide receiver. All right. You deal him, you're able to replicate his production all right. You make it back to the Super Bowl, you win the Super Bowl without your Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill were 1A and 1B. Whoever you want to say was the main target there. Either way, 1A and 1B right there. And you made it back to the Super Bowl without your either one of them. Well, not either one of them, whichever 1A.
Yeah.
So it's a little different at defensive tackle, I guess, because there's not quite as much talent. But I don't know. It's a tough situation. I imagine he gets a deal done. I don't think the Chiefs let him get away, but I don't think it's at 30 million a year. It might be 23, 25,
I agree.
something around there. Okay, we're gonna close it out here. Close out this episode. Trey Lance, probably gonna go down as one of the worst picks and worst trades in the same, all tangled up into one bundle there for the 49ers, in NFL history. And he just got dealt to the Dallas Cowboys for a fourth round pick, I want to say it was. Yeah. Um, I'll ask for your reaction first. What do you think?
Yeah, so I got family members, a bunch of them who are Niners fans. I mean, I can't, dude. This is terrible. I mean, you give what was it, 3 first round picks that they gave up for him?
Yeah.
This you got to give it at least one more year. You have to. I mean,
know.
I understand Brock Purdy just came out of nowhere, but there's no telling that he's going to do this again.
I
The
know.
Niners have one of the best teams in all of football, but their biggest question mark is at quarterback, the most important position that you need. and you gave up 3 first rounders for this guy. You got to give him one more chance. I understand he got hurt, but he can't help that. Dude, give him one more chance.
Yeah.
One more year. That's what they should have done. I'm not saying that it's going to come back to backstab the Niners. There's no telling that Trey Lance is going to do anything productive on Dallas, but for the Niners' sake, one more year. That's what I wanted.
I agree.
So we'll see. We'll see.
The quarterback, whatever you want to say, it goes so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't hit right away, you're out, and there's different levels to it because you see guys like Sam Darnold, he got a second chance in Carolina there to be the starter. And
the guy the Niners picked over Trey Lance.
Yeah. And now Trey Lance is not getting a second chance as a starter. He barely got a first chance. But he's just going to be a backup in Dallas pretty much. I know Dak's contract, I think, is ending pretty soon here in the next coming years. So I don't know if the Cowboys are going to hold on to him for a little bit, but I think it's interesting. I don't know what to expect. But I would have liked to see him get a little more time as well. But I don't know. It just feels like such a big miss to just get rid of you traded 3 first-round picks.
Huge
and miss. Yeah. And now you're just dealing him out the door for a 4th rounder. I don't know. But that's going to wrap it up for episode 1 of the 4th Down Football Show. Kyle, thank you very much for being on. I think it went very well.
I agree.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this, talking some NFL with you going forward. But I know we'll get a little Notre Dame talk in there as well. So that's going to do it for episode 1. Make sure you subscribe and like, and watch out for the next episode. We're going to be doing one of these a week. So watch out next Tuesday for the next episode. See you guys later.
Later.